Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to talk about Star Trek and its modern state. All right, so I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. My path to Star Trek is through TNG, the next generation. So, just because of my age, the original show came on 3 years before I was born. And so I never really interacted with it either, and so my first real interaction with Star Trek was when Star Trek The Next Generation came on for season 1, and I watched that, I believe, in high school and then through college, right? And it was fantastic. I really, it was awesome, right? I really liked Star Trek Next Generation. Caught some of the movies, really enjoyed those, right? But one of the things that's really interesting is right now, Star Trek is in a really strange place. So a lot of people there's a lot of talk about what's going on with Star Trek. So right now, the Star Trek movies are making decent money. They're really not burning it up. Like none of them are in the $1 billion club. Maybe they make $500 million. I don't think they even make $750 million. Now, actually, I know that seems like a hard bar, but it's not uncommon for comic book movies to make that, and Star Trek has as big a name as Spider-Man or Batman or Superman. I mean, it's huge. It's a global internet intellectual property, right? So I was talking with, and the reason why I'm making this video is my brother had a really good insight, and I do want to credit it. So my brother, he's a very intelligent guy, and we were talking about Star Trek, and we were talking about the latest movies. And there's 3 of the new version movies. I'm a huge fan, and I absolutely love the 3rd one, Star Trek Beyond. And the reason why is it has the director from the Fast and Furious films. Well, I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan, right? And, I'm like, hey, Star Trek Fast and Furious, I'm in, bet. And a lot of people were really upset by that film. And honestly, I get why they were upset, because it was kind of weird, right? It's like a zombie. It's a lot like, the Pride and Prejudice zombie film. It's to great taste, that some people are going to be like, this tastes great together. And other people are like, hey, I don't want Thai food and ice cream in the same bowl. I get why people were upset, right? So I was wondering, well, why do you think they did this? Why are they starting to make these Star Trek films in a way that really isn't Star Trek at all? It's something different. And my brother was like, he said, I think he nailed it. He said, the reason why is Star Trek is a hippie show, right? This came from Gene Roddenberry. He was a flower child of the 60s. And he had, hippie values. And those hippie values were, we don't need money, right? We can all live together as communally. The base nature of man is good. Free love, right? We can all love one another. Polyamory, just a long list of these, setting your mind free in different ways, all this stuff, right? So, and he said, really, that was what Star Trek was portraying. It was portraying hippie values of the 60s, right? Well, the reason why that doesn't play today is we know what comes of hippie values, right? So the reality is like polyamory, right? Back in the day, they were like, hey, you can have as many partners as you want. You don't have to put labels on things. You don't have to get married. All these different things, right? They had key parties and all those kind of things. Well, that was all exciting, and people were wondering, what kind of freedom that would produce in the back in the 60s and the early 70s, and people were really, exploring that. But we know what it produces, right? It produces really unhappy people, right? Generally, polyamorous people, while there are some exceptions, generally, most people do not like polyamorous relationships and really can't see themselves in polyamorous relationships. And it's incredibly rare for 4, 6, 8 people, or even 3, to go into a relationship together and then that all works out great. You know what I mean? almost always there's, you know, kind of one person who really just had a hard time in that situation. The other thing is the idea of we don't need money, right? Like, you know, the vast majority of the hippies who went into communes and were like, you know, we can weave baskets and sell those for change and live very frugally and live off the earth. You know, those communes generally don't exist today. You know, there are no famous hippie communes, right? Like that have, you know, existed and have persevered for decades, you know, and you know, if they are, they're very remote. A few people know about them. You know, it's just like it's not a thing, right? So he was saying essentially Star Trek doesn't work today because the questions it was exploring, we already know the answer to. These things don't work, right? Like, you know, and so that is, I think, why Star Trek does need to be reinvented. And I think Star Trek Beyond, you know, like really, come on, you know, if Star Trek Beyond was like, it had Sabotage in it, you know, the Beastie Boys rap song. You know, you're pretty far afield from Star Trek at that point, right? You know, you are creating something very modern and something very different, right? And I feel that is the right way to go. So my point is, I love the new movies. I think they're great. And really, I think you need to bolt off like the whole Gene Roddenberry part of Star Trek. And you just got to make it its own thing now. Like Gene, and we should all give respect for Gene for starting something awesome, right? We can give him respect as the originator, but we cannot preserve his values in the current show. And the reason why is, you know, his values were based on experimentation. Those experiments are done. We already know what the outcome of those experiments are, right? You know, and so that, you know, I think that's the biggest reason why Star Trek has to become its own thing, just like David S. Pumpkins. So that's my take on Star Trek. I'm a huge fan of the new movies. Really, really like them, like what they're doing, and you know, and I dig it, right? And I'm glad, I'm excited for them to do new things and go in a new direction. Take care.